Many of the wheels have that like wiggly, like the suitcase kind of trolley handle, which was sort of the standard. Look, we even got Chris Torina here today. I don't know. So if we're talking about this wheel, the trolley handle feels solid, but
That's
when
not
you
bad.
roll it
Right.
forward, it wants to flip around backwards. So I was trolleying that one backwards.
I'm still not a fan of that on the ET Max.
Yeah, it's weird on the ET Max.
But
I
on
won't go down all the way.
But on this one, and you'll notice this is rounded versus the ET Max is all square, hard in the hands.
So you got tilt back active. Yeah, seems good. Suspension feels. Feels a little lacking for preload. I mean, too
preload.
Much,
it only
too
has
much sag. Needs more preload. I said it proper.
There's no adjustment for that.
Oh, okay.
All you can adjust is compression and rebound.
Okay.
So it is what it is.
Let's see what it looks like jumping off that.
He's going to come down here. I mean, it feels.
This is an upgrade from the A2, but it doesn't take up much more space.
No, it's but it's not an A2 though, for sure.
What's the weight difference? This is 100 volts also.
Yeah, 100 volts. It's got different light. It's got the construction is totally different. It's not a A2 for the batteries, and the A2 are all up here. This has more traditional batteries on the side.
A2 is also 750.
This is 900. So I think it'll make it today.
We've done it on M103s, Marty.
Barely though.
It was 700. Yeah, I think we had somebody
this is 900.
On something that was running.
So I think it'll make it today. Hey Chris,
We've done it
do you want to try this?
M103s, Marty.
First impressions though.
It was 700. Yeah, I think we had somebody. He's got unicycle shoe syndrome. Look at those white shoes with the darkness on where. Oh, okay. Right there. That's how you know it's real. Nice and small, beautiful.
And if they do, they'll be missing.
It's very nimble.
Yeah,
Little hopsies.
it's extremely nimble.
Ooh, I like it. Oh, that suspension feels great.
Chris and I always set up our pads exactly the same. So how are the pads, Chris?
Perfect. I can put them on myself.
I don't think, but they're still a little loose for you probably. You're going to tighten them up before we start.
No.
Are those pads stock?
Nice.
No, because I hate the stock pads.
Yeah.
I like it. Where'd you get these pads? They match the wheel.
They're in motion pads, but I picked them because they matched the wheel.
I would try a 180, but I don't want to be the first one to drop it.
Why are all the
Hi everyone, I'm Chapeau and you're watching the very first episode of What's That Wheel? Today, What's That Wheel? InMotion V14. This wheel has been provided to me by eWheels for testing purposes. However, this review is not sponsored as I didn't get paid to do it, nor do I get to keep the wheel for free. For that reason, I'm counting on your support, so please like, subscribe, comment and share the video. Also, if you want to get a new EUC, please use my affiliate links from eWheels down below in the description, as I will receive a kickback from your purchase. Therefore, in this review, what you're gonna hear is my 100% honest opinion. In What's That Wheel, we go straight to the point, as I tell you what no one else does. So get ready, because I'm going to explain to you everything you need to know before spending 3 to 4 grand on the InMotion V14. Let's go! First, let's quickly go through the main specs. The V14 is the first InMotion wheel with an actual suspension system featuring a rear MTB shock. Also, it's a 16-inch wheel with an 18-inch tire that was definitely intended for off-road and jumps. It has a 2400 watt-hour battery with a 4000 watt motor with a peak power of 9000 watts. But these specs do not mean shit to me, as what matters the most is the actual experience in real-life situation. Also, this big baby weighs no less than 96 pounds. Yes, 66 degrees. This wheel is definitely torquey, which is awesome because it means that you will have less chance to overpower it than, let's say, a Kingsong S22. Very reassuring for sending bigger jumps. However, I still managed to make it pedal dip big time, which led me to crash on that jump. Here the setup is a bit particular because it sends you pretty high into an almost flat landing made of mulch, but still it pedal dipped a lot, which led me to crash, and that's a bit of a disappointment to me, especially considering that I'm a pretty lightweight rider. You will definitely want to upgrade the pedals because the stock pedals are crap. Same goes for the pads. These are okay for basic cruising, but if you want to do some actual riding, which I hope you do, you will want to get rid of these and get ideally Alexa's shark pads instead. These are simply the best pads money can buy, and if you're living in the US, you can now get these with free and fast shipping. More details in the description. Getting back to the pedals, there's unfortunately no possibility to adjust the pedal height, which is a real bummer. But I think I saw some V14 aftermarket replacement pedal hangers which solve that issue, which is a good thing because you will want to have your pedals probably slightly higher for off-road riding to avoid pedal clipping. Once the pedals and pads are properly set up, I must say the wheels feels very nice by just stepping on it. It's nimble, suspension is responsive, motor feels smooth. Nice. The suspension sliders feel tight, which is great, but for some reason the suspension system is clunking whenever the suspension decompresses on the rebound, which is very annoying as it will make your ride shaky and a bit wobbly on uneven terrain. Look at this shitty design. The linkage does not even fit the stock shock. This is just not aligned. So in order to fit the shock, you will have to force the bolt into the shock and compress it somehow to fit it. What an absolute mess. Swapping shocks should take a few minutes. Here it's such a pain. The intended shock size is 200 by 57, which is a good news because it's totally standard for MTB shocks, so you will have no problem finding an alternative to the stock shock, which you will definitely not want to keep as it's uncomfortable and pretty inefficient on rough terrain. If you want more info about how to choose your shock for your EUC, please check out my video about EUC setup for off-road riding. So back to our problems. The linkage is simply too short for the shock. So you will have to force the shock into the linkage to fit it, and it's also going to be a pain to take out the bolts when you want to take out the shock. Once it's done, you will have to take out the top panel and fit your Allen key into this hole to access the second bolt, which is not ideal, but it works. Please note that while working on that shock, you will probably call InMotion names, but that's alright because I give you my official permission. This badly designed linkage is very likely the reason why the suspension flunks whenever it goes back up, as the shock never fully decompresses. Guys, the linkage will have to be redesigned aftermarket. So if any of you has the knowledge and competencies to come up with an actual working design, my buddy Brad can handle the production of it. So don't hesitate to hit me up in the DMs. Also, the top bolt bent after a few days of riding, which is annoying. So we will try to come up with sturdier bolts. As soon as it's done, I'll report back to you. On the other hand, the suspension sliders feel great. There's no play. They seem well thought. These are definitely the best suspension sliders I've ever seen on an EUC using rear MTB shock as a suspension. However, the suspension travel is only 85 millimeters from here to here, which is a bit short, especially compared to the S22 or the Extreme, which have 130 millimeters travel. However, if you remove these chunky rubber rings, you will end up with about 110 millimeters of travel, which starts to be interesting, especially if paired with an improved and redesigned linkage. This wheel jumps very nicely, it behaves very good in the air, no pedal dipping, no weird shakes or weird things happening. Jumps feel just natural. Also, this wheel is very forgiving in the air, so if you start free spinning, it's easy to correct it before landing. The algorithm of the wheel overall is great. It behaves nicely in turns, unlike its main competitor, the Bigot Extreme, which I tried last week and that was keeping on dipping in berms, which makes it extreme only in straight lines. Too bad. The V14, on the other hand, keeps its pedals straight in berms, just like the S22 does, which is super nice. In the app, you can turn on the berm mode, which will allow your wheel to lean in turns safely without cutting off. Come on guys, let's do a quick test. So you turn on the berm mode like this, then you confirm, and you push twice the power button. The wheel doesn't balance anymore, so you shut it off. You turn it on again, and the berm angle just went from about 45 degrees to probably around 80 degrees, which to me is plenty enough for berms riding. And this is super good because I can hit any berm with great confidence that the wheel is not going to cut off. Let's also do a free spin test just for the sake of it. So here we go guys. Let's drop it. You see, for some reason, the wheel angle shuts off.